Jana comes from a prominent Democratic family, and she has dabbled in liberal causes, so we can assume that she has a liberal bent, and she's married to a right-wing Republican. What do you think?
Does she have, I don't think that she has a liberal bent so much as that's what she did in growing up. Otherwise, she couldn't be with this man.
But she marched on Washington for women's rights.
That was a long time ago.
I know.
You know, everybody marched on
dabbling
Washington.
goes a long way.
Well, she was in college. Everybody did that in college, you know?
Yeah.
In our day, you burned your bra, you know?
Yeah.
Even if you needed it.
Yeah. I know, but I think that once you march and you have that in you, I don't know that you change. Statistically, women do not get less liberal as they get older.
Is that true?
Yeah. Men get more conservative, women get more liberal. So I think she's really biting the bullet with him.
Why?
Because, I don't know, you tell me, what is the attraction to Paul Ryan?
I can't figure this out. I have to say, I mean, my husband and I may have different opinions on certain things, but if he doesn't believe that I have the right to control my uterus, I'm not letting him anywhere near my uterus or inside of my vagina.
Very
Ever.
well. I say,
do you know?
Bravo to you.
There should be more of us like that.
It's a worldview issue. I know on my first date with Jimmy, my husband,
yes,
I told him there were 3 deal breakers. If he was a Republican, if he was religious, or if he was a Red Sox fan. Now, I think he might have been a secret Red Sox fan, but I could deal with that because that would be like a friendly rivalry.
Right.
But there's a world view that how do you bring children up if you don't agree on how the world functions around you?
Right. Right. It was pretty clear at the convention that politics is personal. The way Michelle was talking about, her husband,
beautifully
that
speaking about it.
They were poor for a minute there, not very long, but they were, and they had a lot of student loans and things to pay off. Whereas the other side, Romney was always wealthy,
But not a storybook marriage, she said. Not a
real
fairy
marriage.
tale.
Well,
Here's the interesting thing.
What did that mean
It
to
meant
you?
that they're real people and they've had their ups and downs. But what's interesting about Ann Romney is she married him at 20, and they were boyfriend and girlfriend in high school. So I'm assuming he was her only one.
She met him when she was 6 years old. She met him in elementary school.
Okay,
yeah.
So I'm assuming he's the only man she ever had sex with. So at some point after 43 years, don't you just look at them and think, is everybody this bad? I mean, don't you just have that moment? Where
That's when you pull out the nightstand drawer. Behind those batteries. Sorry.
Okay.
And then also, she converted at 16 years old
to Mormonism,
and that's such
And they
an
got
extreme,
engaged at 16.
It's such an extreme thing for a 16. I mean, I have girls that age, and their cerebral frontal cortex is not fully formed till they're 25 to 30.
Well, neither is Romney, so they're even. Go ahead.
But how do you make that kind of major decision?
Yeah.
It's very hard. And you're sacrificing so much of yourself for someone else, especially at a young age like that. If she really converted for him. But even with Jana and Paul Ryan, I mean, if you were raised a certain way and all of a sudden sacrifice who you are, your career, she was a lobbyist, an attorney, that comes back to bite you later on, I think.
Well, now let's look at Paul Ryan and about his mother and his mother Betty. She joined him on the campaign trail and looked on as he paid tribute to her during his convention speech. Watch.
She earned a new degree and learned new skills to start her small business. It wasn't just a new livelihood. It was a new life. And it transformed my mom from a widow in grief to a small businesswoman whose happiness wasn't just in the past. And to this day, my mom is my role model.
Now, during that speech, Paul mentioned his wife once for 3 seconds, but mentioned his mother 5 times for a total of almost 2 minutes, and she got a standing ovation. Now, do you think he's a mama's boy?
Yes. And I would like to know if his mother was starting that small business and she got pregnant, what would she have done then? If she couldn't be a working mother, what would she have done then?
I know.
My father always told me he knew there was something up with Tiger Woods' marriage when he won the Masters and he went to kiss his mother first before his wife.
That tells you something. That
right?
tells you something.
You should be putting your primary partner first no matter what. Not that you shouldn't give your mother credit. As a mother, I would like respect, but, I mean, primary partner should come first.
The wife gives up her lobbying career. She gives up her political position.
Her uterus.
She gives up her uterus to marry this right-wing nut, and he doesn't even mention her.
She lives in a
except
small
for, what did I say, 3 seconds? Would you withhold sex from someone like that?
Well, I wouldn't have sex with him anyway. I mean,
well, we know that, but let's say just somebody had a gun to your head and said,
I've withheld sex for so much less than that, Joy. Yes, the answer is yes.
I mean, do you think that a woman who has to give up her career to a man is resentful?
Yes. Well, Well, you did that.
Oh, yes, back in the day.
Yes. I mean, really.
But my career was negligible, and my husband, had a focus.
Moved hither and yon.
Hither and yon. I went to Providence, Rhode Island with him. Now that's love.
You went to the Ronkonkoma or wherever.
And to Lake Ronkonkoma, that's right.
It is very difficult. And also, when not only you're sacrificing yourself and your career and your identity in a lot of ways, but you also don't expect that the person you're marrying is going to be on the public world stage, and all of a sudden everyone is, looking at you saying, what happened to you?
Yeah. What about when Ann Romney said, "I love you, women"? What was that about? Just as an
lesbian moment.
A lesbian moment. Besides Dwight and Mamie Eisenhower, who else had a storybook marriage?
Does anyone really have a storybook marriage? I mean, the fairy tales didn't have in-laws or taxes or
They had moats that had to be swum across. Right.
A little bit different. But I think the problem with Ann Romney comparing her relationship to a real marriage and not a storybook marriage is that it's still different from the average person. I mean, I want someone to own up and say, listen, I get it. We had wealth. Our lives are different. It doesn't mean they're perfect, but I get it.
She wouldn't say that.
No, they never say that.
They cry poverty even when they're running to the
money
bank
the
every
thing
minute.
that most couples fight over? Isn't that...
That's what money, in-laws, sex, I would think, right? Those three things.
And moving. There's nothing worse than moving.
Yeah, but money, if you don't have money, that puts so much stress on a marriage and a relationship.
It's hard. It's hard.
Especially if you have 5 boys and, 18 grandchildren.
My father was a big gambler, and my mother would say, God, when her doctor died, she said, God takes the wrong ones. And she was looking at my father at the time. You know what that was? A storybook marriage.
Yeah. That's like my grandparents. My grandfather had a twin that died in infancy, and my grandmother used to always scream at him, "The wrong twin died, Izzy." Storybook. They had
storybook marriages. This is what we come from.
Immigrant storybook.
Now, let's talk about the Obamas for a second. What about their marriage? What do you think?
Well, the thing that I remember when he was running last time, and they were being interviewed on something, maybe it was 60 Minutes or something. And I remember he was speaking and he was listening to her.
Well,
he was really listening to her.
Yeah. The First Lady hit it out of the park when she spoke at the convention, especially when talking about her husband. Watch.
I didn't think that it was possible, but let me tell you, today, I love my husband even more than I did 4 years ago, even more than I did 23 years ago when we first met. Let me tell you why. See, I love that he has never forgotten how he started.
Okay, now, what do you think about that? She sounds like
Well, of course she loves him more than she did before. He's president of the United States.
Well, what does that got to do with it?
He's got power. There's this incredible partnership and sense of equality between the two of them. I mean, I always tell Lou, my husband, I said, listen, if you were looking for a traditional housewife, I suck at that job. But I'm a great partner. And I think they're really good partners, respectful, thoughtful, understand each other.
Actually, marriage is a partnership. It's a partnership.
Should be.
You're in it together and you're making decisions. But speaking of a partnership, the Clintons are such a great partnership.
Well,
that's a completely different.
It's like a business relationship, but with affection. That's what it looks like to me.
But you know what? I think he really loves her.
He does. He does.
Whatever else goes on, whoever else he's loving at the same time, whatever. But I think he really loves her.
I mean, they're hitting has agreements.
The right wing is hitting him now because they're saying, he lied about Monica Lewinsky. But everybody would lie about a sex scandal. Only Paul Ryan lies about his marathon numbers, which I think is really, there's something wrong with someone who would lie about something like that.
Well, because it's so easy, but they don't care about fact checking.
Well, we've learned that, time and time again, right?
Now, let's compare the Obamas to the Romneys, because I think the Romneys are just as solid. I think he has respect for her. He stood by her. She has MS, and he was there for her. I think that exists, too. It's just that they've been together from when she was in elementary school with him. That's a long time. Don't people change? They go to college. They get married. They have children. People go through tremendous changes.
They have that
lives.
Weekend that you're not supposed to tell anyone that you had in college.
But maybe they had that, and they still grew back together. They could have, I think what she was saying with the storybook marriage, which I understand, is they've had their ups and downs. Everything hasn't been as perfect as they look.